Hello, my name is Jorge Argota, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Florida law firm web design costs for 2026 for attorneys. Now, typically these costs can average from $1,500 to about $100,000, depending on a lot of things. Today I'm going to explain to you exactly why they cost that much and give you some tips and some advice when looking for a web designer to build. So like I mentioned before, a law firm web design is going to average anywhere from 1,500 to 100,000, depending on what agency you're going for, and as well as the type of competition and the type of practice areas that you're currently doing. Now, for personal injury, it's obviously going to be more expensive because there's more competition and it requires different sets of A/B post testing. It requires high converting landing pages. It requires a lot of these things because Google looks at the encompassing industry of what the websites are. So to kind of give you an explanation, what works for an immigration law firm is not going to work the same for a personal injury law firm. Even though you design things the same and you put the information the same, it's always going to be a little bit different based on the industries. And so with that being said, for personal injury, there's a standard or a level of quality, and the same applies for criminal defense and immigration attorneys. And so when building out these websites, ideally what you want to look for is individuals who have experience building these sites, but also proven stuff. And so what works for one doesn't work for the other. And the cost varies significantly between them because of the competition. Because the question you should be asking is not what a law firm website costs in Florida, but rather how much is a website going to cost me for the next 3 years, or what is going to cost me for the next 5 years? Because having a website isn't a one-time thing. Even though a lot of agencies frame it that way, that's not actually what needs to happen. What needs to happen is it's a continual thing. So you have to do SEO, you have to do paid ads, you have to do these things if you're going to want to generate clients. If you're just looking for a basic website with some contact information and you're doing referrals and things of that nature, then that's fine. You can build a $1,000 to $3,000 website. That's okay. But if you're going to want to compete and be at the top and generate leads and cases and all these things, you're going to have to shift the perspective towards looking at this as a long-term investment rather than a short-term investment. And so a lot goes into a website, things like custom coding and things like templates are very separate things, even though they can both be the same thing. So on a templated website, let's say things for example, on WordPress, right? Majority of websites are built on WordPress. This also includes attorneys. I would say 90% of all law firms are built on WordPress. And they do very well. And WordPress has a lot of flexibility when it comes to customization, because they do have templates that range from, free to $200, $300 for a template, depending on what you want to get. So what ends up increasing the cost for these websites is the complexity and the programming and all these other things. So you can have a $3,000, let's say, for example, you have a $3,000 website. It's built on WordPress. It's built on a theme, on a pre-made theme. You can take that, you can modify it, you can customize it, and you can grow as your firm grows, or as you want to implement things, you can do all those things. Whereas I would say platforms like Wix or, GoDaddy, things of that nature, you're kind of stuck. You can't really do any crazy customizations to them. You're very limited. It's not the right way to go when building, a website for your law firm. In my experience, the best way to build out a website in 2026 would be use Kingsta hosting right? Which is the hosting platform. Don't use, or WP Engine. Don't use anything GoDaddy related because they tend to be very slow. Once you start there, you build it out on WordPress. And then from WordPress, you can start small, something basic, maybe a couple $1,000s for the website. Get your landing pages up, get your information up. And then as you look at this long term, you're going to start building out more pages. You're going to start customizing it, adding different plugins, things like schema tags, local business tags, things that are going to boost your rankings in an indirect format. And so that's why the costs vary significantly, between these tools because of the customization, because of the different service packages that come with the website. So I guess that's the gist of things when it comes to building out a website. So my best advice is, find someone who can build it on WordPress. It's in-house, you own it. I obviously provide those services myself, but I encourage you to do your research, look at the actual designs that they've done, because a lot of people, especially now with how everything's shifting towards AI, everybody is apparently an expert now. And, it's very scary because of the misinformation and because anybody can just do it. The other day, I was vibe coding my website. I got it done in about 3 days. But the AI portion of the web development was very expensive. I spent around maybe $500 just running API codes into the system. And, these things weren't perfect all the time. So I would have to end up reprompting a lot of stuff. So not only is this AI vibe coding thing extremely time consuming, but it's also not perfect yet. It's good, right? But you need to have all the experience around it in order for that to even be a thing, right? Like if I did the prompting and you, for example, did the prompting, we'd totally have different results, from it. And so, building a law firm now with the WordPress and stuff is a great way, because it's also going to start, well, they've already done it. You're able to integrate WordPress with these AI tools and kind of build them out. So not only it saves you time, but it also, it really depends on how good you are. Because sometimes you could spend hours prompting and you're still not going to get the results that you want. Whereas if you know what you're doing, it can significantly increase the speed, but you're also going to run into potential issues. So that's why it's not perfect exactly. It's there, but it's not perfected. And so it's going to be a couple years before not a couple years. I would say a couple months before we start seeing significant, and then a couple years before we can just prompt things by ourselves, and anybody can do it. But that's my prediction. I can obviously be wrong, but yeah, so just those are things you need to watch out for. Once again, my name's George and I'm the CEO of Argota Marketing. And if you guys ever have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you and have a wonderful day.